G'day YouTube, my name is Lasher. I'm coming here today with a nice quick tutorial covering the things that I think are essential to know before you start your first game of Tarkov. You've probably already had one or two games and then come and found this video. Hopefully this will help you out. I'll try not to waste any time whatsoever. First things first, this game is really hard. Really hard. There is a very steep learning curve, okay? If you're having trouble, it's not just you, it's everybody else as well. Don't lose heart. Stick in there. You can do it. And you will get better. Just keep at it, alright? Number two. A lot of people when they first start, they don't know about their meds. Every single raid, you should have some meds on you. Otherwise, you're going to regret it. These meds are bandages, some splints, and some painkillers. Okay? Now what these will do for you is if you start bleeding, a bandage will stop a bleed and stop you from bleeding to death. You can get fractured limbs from being shot or falling too far, which will severely affect your ability to move quickly or aim properly if it's your arm. A splint will fix a fracture. Now, numerous effects, such as being fractured and walking around on a fractured leg, will cause you to be in pain. Also, you'll notice when you take fire and your limb loses all of its hit points. So if I take 60 damage on my arm, it will be blacked out. It'll have 0 hit points. And walking around on a blacked leg, for example, will also cause pain and slow you down. Using something which provides the painkiller effect, see here, removes pain. That's what you're looking for. There's a couple of items. There's upgrades to all of these. It tells you how long it lasts for. It says it removes pain. In this case, it also says it removes hydration, which I'll quickly move on to that. Down the bottom left-hand corner of my character screen here, there's a whole bunch of stuff. This is my hit points. But this one here is my hydration. Now, your water will go down in raids, and you can start to dehydrate to death, especially if you go popping a bunch of painkillers and other things that dehydrate you. So keep an eye open for water while you're in raids. The next one here is your energy. That is raised by eating food, and it will go down over the course of a raid. Note, if your stomach gets blacked out, you will rapidly start losing water and energy. Again, when I say blacked out, I mean 0 hit points. You'll see on your little character model, it'll appear, and you'll see your stomach area is black. That is an emergency situation. You need to make sure you get yourself some hydration and some food immediately. Now, there is a lovely little item. There's 2 of them. One of them is the Survival 12, and the other one's a CMS kit. I didn't get one of those prepared, sorry. But both of these items can perform surgery on your character and bring a blacked out limb back up to 1 hit point. Now, onto healing. This car med kit, for example, will be able to heal you. It also stops blood loss. So if you have a car med kit, you can forego taking bandages with you. Just be aware that to stop blood loss, it will require 40 hit points off of this med kit. If we have a look here, it says 220 out of 220. To stop blood loss, it'll take 40 of that. So if you happen to have a med kit that has 39 hit points left, it will not stop that blood loss. It might be able to heal a little bit of hit points, but it won't be able to stop blood loss. Now, what you're going to start with when you start your game is a whole bunch of these little things. They're called AI2s. Lots of other players just refer to them as cheese. Now, this is a lovely little med kit. It will heal your hit points very quickly, but if you have a quick look down here, we'll notice it doesn't stop blood loss. We'll look at a bandage. Stops blood loss. We have a look at the car med kit. Stops blood loss. The AI2, while it heals you, will not do that. So, when you go into your first raid, or any other raid for that matter, you can take either, say, a car med kit to stop blood loss and heal yourself, along with 1 or 2 splints and a pack of painkillers. Or you could leave the car med kit behind and take 1 to 3 AI2s and I suggest 2 bandages at the least. If you only take 1 and you get another bleed, you're really going to regret only having 1 of these things. Oh, when it comes to bleeding, quickly, if you sprint while you've got a freshly bandaged wound, it can tear open and start bleeding again, in which case that second bandage is going to be useful. Now, I mentioned before, there are upgrades for all of these things. You can get splints which come in 5 stacks, because these ones here are single use. Same with these bandages. If I go to therapist, I've got a level 2 at the moment. But I can buy at level 2 an army bandage, which has 2 uses on it, and it will only take up 1 slot in my inventory, which is a lovely little thing. Here's the the immobilizing splints. They have 5 uses, so it's a 5-use splint to stop your fractures. Okay, I think that just about covers your medicine. There's lots of different med kits you can get. There's quite a few different types of painkillers. You'll discover them as you go through the game. We don't need to waste time with those now. Next thing's next. Okay, on to part 2. The rest of the stuff that you should bring with you on a raid. You might see some people running in with just their hatchets and melee weapons. That's a very bad idea. You should always have a gun, whether it is a pistol or a rifle, just whatever you've got with you. It doesn't really matter, as long as it shoots bullets, you can defend yourself with it. That's a good start. Other than a gun, you also want a backpack. You put it in the backpack slot, and that will let you carry more loot. So if you happen to extract, well, that's more money for you and more gear you can use. That is a very good thing. Never ever leave without a backpack. If you don't have one, you can buy a very, very cheap backpack off of Ragman at level 1. It's called the Tactical Sling Bag. Here it is. Now, it does not hold much in it, but it only costs less than 2,000 rubles. Now, some people don't like these, but even having those little 6 extra slots to bring home some loot in is well worth it. You can put a lot more than 2,000 rubles worth of loot in this bag. And if you find a better one, that's alright. Throw it away. Take the better bag, something like this scav back here, for example. As you can see, it fits in a lot more than this sling does. I can stick it out there, you see. Much more room. I could fit whole guns in this thing if I want to. Okay, so, just to recap, you want your meds, you want a backpack, and you want a gun. Now, if you find you're dying a lot and you're losing your meds earlier in the beginning, you can put them in your secure container. This secure container, don't ever drop this, by the way. Anything you put in there, if you die, it will stay in there. Your enemy does not get to take that. You will not lose it when it dies. And that can save you a little bit of money replacing meds if you're having a hard time. Once you do start getting hang of the game, though, I strongly suggest you put them in your pockets, and you can use a button to hotkey them, or you can drag them down onto the hotbar yourself. And that way, if you need to heal in a hurry or stop a bleed in a hurry, you don't need to go into your inventory. You can just quickly press the hotkey and, for example, bandage your bleeding wound. But at the start, it's perfectly okay to put them inside your gamma container. That way, if you die and you don't use them, you'll get your meds back. If you find something that looks more important than the meds, by all means, take them out and put those in your backpack and put the fancy stuff in there, like, you know, whatever it is you find. Guns. Lots of people don't realise right at the start, especially if they haven't watched too much, your gun does not, you can't just reload it and have infinite ammunition like you do in lots of games. Your gun will have a magazine in it, or sometimes even an internal magazine in it. You can double click on a gun to inspect it, which is what I've done here to bring up this window. And here we can see all the parts of the gun down here. We can see all the gun statistics up here, and we can see what it looks like up in this window. But what we really want to look at here is the magazine, okay? Now, every gun and every magazine will tell you what caliber bullet it takes, or caliber cartridge, I should say. Right here it says caliber. This particular rifle is a 7.62 by 3.9 bullets, okay? Which means we have to put 7.62 by 3.9 variant bullets in the gun and a magazine which is compatible with the gun and those bullets. If we want to find out if a magazine is compatible with a gun that we own, we can come down to this little section down here, and the arrow on the side says compatible with, and mouse over it. It says right here, this magazine is compatible with an SKS, and I have one in my stash. It's right here, as a matter of fact. And so I can take this out. I can drag it back on. But you may notice this magazine says 0 out of 20. It has no bullets in it. Every shot you fire will be counted, and you will have to pay for those bullets or find them. So this SKS, it uses a fantastic round, the PS 7.62x39, which is one of the best bullets at the start. We can go over to Prapor here and buy some of those. Now I'm going to press this little button on the side to filter for ammo to make this look a little bit less confusing. And we're going to level 1 to show you what you've got here. Now, the PS, this is the bullet we want right here. You see, if I mouse over it or click on it, it says it's a 7.62x39. That's what we're looking for. And this little designation over the side says PS. Now, this cartridge comes in a couple of different variants, but we won't cover that here today, okay? If we're using SKS, this is the bullet you want. A lot of the early game guns, you want it to use this bullet. It will kill heavily armored players. It will kill unarmored players. It is dirt cheap and highly effective. It works in lots of different guns. So I'm going to go ahead, and to buy some of these, I'm going to make sure that my fill items is ticked. That will make it so that my money automatically fills. If this isn't ticked and we don't have money in here, I have to find cash in my inventory and drag it into this box. So we click fill items, or you can press the button if it's not ticked. And over here we select how many we want. So we've got 20 rounds in the magazine, so we want at least 20. But we're probably going to want to reload that. So let's say 40. No, not 470. 40, thank you. Take 40 rounds of PS ammo. Now, most guns will require multiple magazines. The SKS happens to be one of the few guns in the game which is so old-fashioned, you can put a magazine in it and load the bullets in through the top of the rifle into the magazine. So you don't need a second one in this case. So we take the magazine out, we drag the bullets onto the magazine, and now we have a loaded magazine. Okay? We're going to equip our gun, we're going to equip our bag, we're going to equip our PS ammunition. Now, to be able to reload a gun with ammunition or magazines, you will need them to be either in your pockets or inside your tactical rig. I'm not wearing a tactical rig right now. If I was, say for example this one, I could put spare magazines in here and I'd be able to press the R button and reload. Note, these do not go in the SKS. I'm just using them as an example. If I have them, however, in my backpack and I try and press reload, it won't use those magazines, okay? So, quick recap again. You want medicine, at least 2 bandages, 2 splints, and something to heal your hit points, okay? If you have a med kit that also stops blood loss, you can forget the bandages. You want a bag, you want a gun. These are pretty much mandatory for every raid. Even when you're starting out, you want these things. If you get a fracture and you have to limp halfway across the map, you are not going to have a good time. Take it from me, that sucks. One day you'll forget to bring them with you and you'll find out for yourself. Everyone, this is part 3 where I'm going to explain some basic controls to everybody. Now, as in most games, but not all, we're going to start off by, if you sprint, you can't shoot immediately. You can't shoot it always sprinting. You have to stop before you can bring it up and fire again. So be careful when you do and don't sprint. I've killed a lot of people simply because they couldn't bring their gun up and shoot me immediately and they died. That aside, there's a couple of things you might want to know about your guns. For example, you may notice there's no ammunition counter, even when I fire my bullet. If I want to know what my ammunition is, I press Alt-T, and it pulls out. You can see the bottom left-hand corner, the bottom right-hand corner there. It's telling me nearly full and what the caliber and type of bullet is in there. If I was to say empty this, and now we can check it, and surprise, surprise, it's empty. Now to reload our gun, we press R, and that will stick in a new mag. Now note, if you don't have room in your vest, it will drop the mag on the ground. That's bad. You don't want it to do that, okay? Make sure you got room inside the vest. Yeah. So some pretty obvious things for people who play other first-person shooters. If you crouch, you will have more recoil control. If you go prone, you'll have even more recoil control. The default keyboard one shows a C for crouch and X for prone. So those are your basic movement. You've got some rather advanced movement controls beside that though. By default, if you're looking down the bottom right hand corner, there's a couple of little bars, white dots, and that arrow moving down and up is me adjusting my character's move speed. So I can walk at full speed, or I can slowly slide this down and make him walk really quite slowly if I want to. Now this is great for a number of reasons, which we'll go into in a different video. Also, we can crouch down, we can crouch up. But if I hold C and use the mouse wheel, I can decide how far I want to crouch. So for example, if I'm trying to hide behind these barrels here and crouch down, and I can decide, oh no, I need to be able to shoot past this, I don't want to hit that, I can hold C, use my mouse wheel, just pop up a little bit further, just over the top of the cover. This isn't a great example, but you get the point. Other parts of your control system, let's go into the gun. So left click tends to fire, right click looks down your scope, which is wonderful. Now if I just look down, you'll see it's wobbling around a tiny bit. If I tap Alt, my character will start holding their breath, and you see how that's just leveled out immediately. That will, however, you see down the bottom left hand corner, drain my arm stamina faster. The blue bar is your arm stamina, which controls things like looking down sights and using your melee weapon attack. You see, that makes it go right down real fast. The green bar is your leg stamina. That will go down when you run. And if you carry way too much stuff, just walking around will make that go down. It also goes down a little bit when you stand up from being prone. It takes a little bit of your leg stamina. So if you've run and you've got that completely out, and you try to go prone and then try to jump back up again, don't be surprised if your character just stays there on the ground. He's too puffed out of breath, he doesn't have the energy to do it. Let's see, what else have we got here? B, by default, switches your gun's fire mode. I don't like that. I like to change that. T will toggle your flashlight or laser if you have one on there. And N will toggle your either night vision or helmet's visor if you have it. Those are awesome controls. Now, if I'm over here and I want to peek around the corner, I can hold Q or respectively E to peek, or if I want to slow peek and control exactly how far, I can hold down the Alt key and use A and D keys to slowly lean from side to side. You know, so I can lean to the left here like this, or to the right here like this, and then just walk along leaning to the left. That can be fantastic for if I want to just slowly creep around and look around this corner without exposing more than I have to. There's a couple other sneaky little controls along there. If I hold Alt-S, my character will try and stick his gun around the corner like that. You see? And then I can fire around that corner without exposing my body. You can't see what's going on. It's not very useful, but there are circumstances. Likewise, if I'm crouched down here and I want to fire over the top of this, but I can't look down, you see that gun gets in the way? If I hold Alt-W, my character will point his muzzle up and over, and I can shoot down there below me quite happily. Again, I can't see what's going on. Oh, I'm out of ammo. Now, this is a great time to explain how my magazines work. I've got one that's empty and another one that's empty. So I'm out of bullets. I can't shoot anybody. If I want to reload these magazines, I need some spare ammo that will fit in them. I need to drag it onto the magazine, and it will load it in there, one bullet at a time, nice and slowly. Now, personally, I love this part of the game. I find it very realistic and somewhat therapeutic. Oh, I'll show you a real quick trick. If you're searching loot, for example, say this box here, I can search this. While I'm searching this, I can load my magazine to save time. Well, that was really quick. That was empty. Okay, so those are your guns controls. Your basic movement controls. Next, let's get a grenade. I can just throw a grenade by pressing G and hocking it quick and fast. Do not be anywhere near the blast zone. It's not like a traditional grenade. It doesn't create an area that'll kill things in. It actually sends out all these individual little bits of shrapnel. And if I was standing over here at the truck and the grenade went off over there, I could quite easily be hit in the face or the guts by a flying piece of shrapnel, and I could get killed by my own grenade. So be very careful about that. Just because you're not close to it does not mean it's a danger to you. Get in cover. Second thing about grenades. If I put a grenade into a pocket, it has to be in a pocket or the tac vest to press G and throw it. But if I put it into a pocket and hotkey it, I like hotkey 4, there's a couple of things you can do with your grenade. For example, I can hold left click to pull out the grenade and then throw it when I want to, when I'm ready. For example, let's say I want to pull it out, have my mate open a door, and then you know, sneak around and quickly hock it through the door. It's already ready. It's already ready to go, primed, and you just chuck it real quick. That's a lot faster than pressing G. In the moment, anyway. There's another option too. You can hotkey it. You can press the hotkey to pull it out. Instead of left clicking, I can right click. Now, you don't need to hold the right click. You can just tap it, and it'll hold that grenade indefinitely. If I want, I can press 2 or anything else to select, say, my gun. And you see there, you just put the pin back in the grenade. You can do that with a grenade as long as you don't let go of the bar. That's a thing, right? So you don't have to use the grenade. That's the same with left click too. If I left click this, and I decide I don't want to throw it, I can press my weapon, and he puts the pin back in and pulls it out. Anyhow, back onto the right click function. So if I right click the grenade, I can do an underarm throw. So I press right click. From this point, I can left click and do a normal throw if I want to, or I can right click again, and you watch as he rolls the grenade on more of an underarm, and it doesn't go anywhere near as far as it did before. And it's great for rolling it under cars or just chucking a short distance around a corner. Right click throws are honestly one of my favourite. They're fantastic. Okay, so let's say you get injured in battle, okay? You don't know what's wrong with you. Immediately check let's say your screen's going blurry, you got red everywhere, like what's wrong with you, what's happening? Press tab, open your inventory. First thing, check to make sure you're not dehydrating or starving to death. I'm currently not, that's well above 0, I'm fine. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to click on the health tab. Now you'll have a whole bunch of icons that pop up. I'm going to put them on the screen now for you. You're going to have bleeding, fracture, stress, overweight, and I think there's one for dehydration or starving as well. I'll look that up when I add the icons on the screen for everybody. Obviously, most of these things are pretty self-explanatory. If you're dehydrated, drink water. If you're bleeding, use a bandage. If you're fractured, use a splint. If none of those things are wrong, and you're noticing like big black flashing lights on the screen and all these veins and stuff, it could very well be because your head is blacked out or you're just on very low hit points. Painkillers should make it easier to see again and generally make you just feel all around better. You know, I think that just about covers that. Okay, section 4, resources. Now, there's a lot to learn about this game, and a lot of questions a lot of people are going to have to ask, like, how do I know how good the bullets are? which items are worth keeping? How do I find out how to do this silly task that is explained very poorly? Looking at you, delivery from the past. Anyhow, there is an amazing amount of resources out there for players of all skill levels that will explain pretty much every aspect of the game. A quick Google search will reveal most of these things. Now, one invaluable resource will of course be the Escape from Tarkov wiki. I'll be leaving a link to that in the description of the video. And there are many other very useful charts. Some people have been putting together charts for a while which explain what bullets do, which bullets do more damage or more penetration, all kinds of statistics on them. There's quite a few different charts depending on your style. I'm going to link a few of them in the description. That what I'm going to link there is by no means all that's out there. Go out, do some exploring, see what you find. There's lots. You can also find maps. Maps that tell you where the loot is. Maps that tell you where the extracts are. Maps that tell you what keys open what doors. If you just type on into Google Escape from Tarkov, say for example customs map, and go to the image section, you'll see 30, 40 different maps that people have made. Have a look through them. Find one that you like. If you have a second monitor, it pays off to have one on, have the map up on your screen while you're learning. If not, lots of people have it up on their phone. It's not ideal, but you can do that, or you can alt-tab between the game and your map. I'll leave a link to a couple of my favourites of those into the chat as well, if you like, to check those out. So I'll leave a whole bunch of those resources in the description section. Make sure to have a look through those. They're fantastic. Google is your best friend, though. If you have a question, feel free to Google it. If you have any questions that Google can't answer, by all means, please feel free to leave a question in the comments section, and I'll get back to you as soon as humanly possible. Otherwise, if you're part of the Oceania Discord, we have a Sherpa help section there, where newbies come and ask all kinds of questions every day, and it's an amazing place to learn and have a couple of raids if you happen to live in the Australia, New Zealand type area, given the current ping restrictions. I'll leave a link to that in the description as well. Gosh, there's going to be a lot of links in there. Now, before I go, everyone, just remember, this is a very difficult game. Try and go easy on yourself. If the game's kicking your ass and you're not having any fun, just try and remember, games are supposed to be fun. You can stop and take a break. You can go play a different game for a while. You can come back and it will still be here. And yeah, you can do it. It's just a little tough. Oh, one last note. Don't focus too much on your guns or your armor. As long as you've got a gun and you've got a backpack, ideally you should be avoiding getting shot at if you possibly can. Body armor will only help you so far. Having a big flashy gun will only help you so far. If you don't know where the danger areas are and you don't know the ins and outs of the game, going and grinding for super flashy gear isn't going to suddenly turn you into a god. That's just not the way the game works. So focus on learning your way around, learning where the enemies are, try out a whole bunch of different guns, find out what works for you. Do you like semi-auto precision guns? Do you like to spray and pray? Do you like big guns that go bang and scare your enemies off? You have a try and decide for yourself. And on that note, for trying things out, if you go into Escape from Tarkov like this, and you go to your PMC, we can select a map, any map we want, let's say customs, and we're going to go to daytime here. If we click this big button here that says enable offline mode, we can now load into a game with no enemy players. We can turn the scavs on and off here by selecting enable PvE. You can even turn the bosses on if you want them there. Now I suggest you go in to an offline raid if you're having a little bit of difficulty finding your way around, and just use that to explore. You can have a look around, you can find the extracts, you can find out where some of the juicy loot spots are, and just generally have a good look around. It's a great way to go about things. Another nice easy way of exploring the game is your scav. He'll come up every 15 minutes or so, and he'll give you some free gear. You'll be able to go, and the enemy AI won't shoot at you unless you shoot them first. And if you extract, you get to keep all the gear. It can be wonderful sometimes. You'll find a whole big pile of bodies where some of the PMCs have murdered each other. And you can get out there with some amazing loot. Try not to rely too much on your scav if you can help it. Leveling up your PMC is important because your XP won't carry over to your PMC. Leveling up this bloke is important. Learning how to play with what you've got is important. But the scav is there. Utilize it. It's fantastic. Just try not to use it too much as a crutch, okay? Anyhow, I'm Lasher. I hope this video has helped you out today. If it has, please leave a like, possibly subscribe, and tell your mates about this video. I'm going to be making a couple more of the series. The next one is going to be how to stay alive. I've got a lot to say about that I don't think many other people share, and it really is the next step in the journey of becoming successful. But if you apply this knowledge, you arm yourself, you bring proper meds, and you use a little bit of brain power, in no time at all, you'll be a veteran like the rest of us. Just stick in there, have some fun, and enjoy the game. Until then, enjoy the ride.